In my personal opinion, I think Alex is amazing, but I definitely don't want to compare her to Max and Chloe because I love them as well. It's like making me pick my favorite child. Alex is somebody who has seen her power as a curse throughout her whole life. This power is her ability to hear and see the emotions of other people, and as they manifest as colored auras around people around her, if they're feeling something strongly, and if they're feeling something very strongly, it can affect Alex, where she can herself take on the emotion in the beginning of the game and lose herself in it. And throughout the story, we see Alex mature both in her own awareness of her emotions and not to just push them aside to be receptive to others. Additionally, becoming more skillful at using her power.
Every Life is Strange game, the player will get to create the kind of character they want to be through choices within the core story. And oftentimes, because of who Alex is and the power that she has, those choices are related to the emotions that she feels from other people and that she even internalizes herself from those experiences. She comes to the beginning of our story from a background of a great deal of hardship, where she suffered through a broken family, through abandonment, through a very difficult foster care experience, and through really never having a kind of a home or a family to call her own. And despite that, she's this incredibly resilient person. And that's just the starting point of our story, because from there, she's going to encounter even more difficulties, but she's also going to find an opportunity to find that home, possibly, and find a kind of family for herself. And then something that I think is extraordinarily special about what we did is the full performance capture that we utilized, which is where our actors come into the studio on our mocap stage, and they are hooked up to capture their body, their facial performance, and their vocal performance all at the same time. And the challenge there is that it is a very time-consuming process. It essentially means shooting a whole season of television and making a game at the same time. We got to see our characters come to life in a way that we never saw before. And in a game about emotions, the way that these characters' emotions shine through in their facial performances is so special. It really started from this idea of empathy and wanting to explore it further. As far back as before the storm, we were really fascinated by this idea of games as an engine for empathy, the way that players connect to their player characters or the other characters in a way that I think is actually quite singular from other kinds of media. Another question of what would it be like for a person to have that kind of empathic connection that we feel with our characters as players, but with other people in the world around them.
We have one of our absolute favorite characters from developing Life is Strange Before the Storm, Steph. The Steph you're seeing now in Life is Strange True Colors has a bit of trauma from that experience. And she's come to Haven Springs, similar to Alex, to find that new life and to learn more about herself after leaving her small town. She was a really well-loved character by a lot of the writers and a lot of the developers from Before the Storm, as well as a huge fan favorite. So it was really wonderful to be able to bring her back and to put her into the world with Alex and all of these new characters to learn more about her, which we'll also see more of that development in the DLC Wavelengths when that comes out later this year.
It was a big push by our level designers, our environment artists, and also in the writer's room to give players the freedom that we want Alex to feel, or alongside what Alex feels, to just lose themselves in the world of Haven Springs. And I think the end result really mirrors that sense that I think we've all had in our lives, where we arrive someplace new and we are the newcomer in this community where everyone seems to know each other and everything has a pattern and a rhythm to it, and you're trying to figure out how to be a part of it. Alex herself is a bisexual bisexual woman. She has multiple romantic options in the story, and can't get too far into the details around that. We're really excited to get to share more of Steph, and specifically her DLC featuring her for Wavelengths, which has elements in it that speak specifically to Steph's identity and how she shares her identity with the larger world.